To mark the start of Nonfiction November, Olive of a Book Olive has a new nonfiction on BookTube Tag, and the link to the video will be down below. Let me scroll to the questions. So, number one, how much nonfiction do you read? I will hazard a rough guess of about 15%. The vast majority of my reading is science fiction and fantasy. More fantasy than science fiction, but the vast majority is science fiction and fantasy, and it is reflected in my personal library where I have a massive, several shelves worth of science fiction and fantasy, a very minuscule, the headboard bookshelf where general fiction goes, and then I have a little 3-shelf bookcase where I have my nonfiction, which is almost exclusively history, except for 2 critical theory anthologies I was an English lit major, and then for a brief time a graduate student in English. So I have 2 critical theory anthologies, and I have a book on Northrop Frye's Anatomy of Criticism, and Carlo Caregne's Dionysus and the Gods of the Greeks up there on my wall shelf. But otherwise I have 2 shelves of a 3-shelf bookcase with nonfiction, mostly exclusively history. What kind of nonfiction videos do you want to make on BookTube? I think generally more talking about history and biography and that sort of thing. What's your favorite subgenre of nonfiction? History. Without question, it is history. Although criticism also would be up there too. I do quite enjoy critical theory and literary criticism of a more scholarly kind. Do you have a favorite nonfiction book? I want to say they're all my favorites. No. Do I have one specific favorite? No. I do have several books that I really, really enjoy, but no one favorite that I can point to. What do you think keeps people from wanting to read more nonfiction? I think in a way there's a misperception that nonfiction is boring, that it aims to teach you something, it aims to cajole you, to convince you, not necessarily as entertainment or something that you can gain pleasure from reading. Why do you like nonfiction? I like to learn new things, to experience new things, even vicariously. I do actually rather enjoy reading nonfiction. What's a nonfiction book you read because of BookTube? Well, eventually I'm hoping to be reading Big Wonderful Thing by Steve Harrigan. It's this new big, almost 1,000-page history of Texas, which Steve Donahue has hauled, and I've been looking forward to reading it for a while. Also, as part of Nonfiction November, I have one of 2 Alexander the Great biographies, Soldier, Priest, and God, and Alexander the Great, that I saw hauled on Steve's channel. and I want to say Lawrence Wright's God Save Texas, which I don't have in my collection, but which I also really, really want to have. And I think I saw it hauled on Steve Donahue's channel or something. So there's quite a few. Where am I at here? What's the best nonfiction book you've read lately? I'm going to say probably Age of Conquest. Which, I mean, it's not been lately. I think it's been closer to about a year since I've read it. By Angelos Cheniotis. And even longer... where did she go? The Story of Egypt by Joanne Fletcher, which I think I've read about 2 years ago. And right now I'm currently reading Shoals and Peanuts, a biography by, I'm blanking on the author's name, which is really enjoyable. So I'm doing pretty good. What are some of your nonfiction reading goals? I want to read more. Even though that would cut into science fiction and fantasy reading, I do want to read more nonfiction. I do really want to expand my history collection significantly than what it is now. What's your advice for incorporating more nonfiction into your reading diet? What are you interested in? What are your areas, subjects that you are interested in? Find nonfiction books about those and really dig into them, read more and more, and get into it. And just maybe there was a few years ago on BookTube, there was like try a chapter or try a story. I don't know if it was a tag or a challenge, where you would like pick up a whole bunch of books, whether it's like a novel or a short story collection, and you would read a chapter or read a story in that collection and decide whether or not you wanted to continue on with it. I mean, that would be maybe something, a good, interesting idea to do too. Yeah. I mean, and just generally go, maybe randomly pick a nonfiction book off a shelf and read it. So that was the nonfiction on BookTube Tag original. There is a bonus where give some recommendations of nonfiction BookTube channels that you love. I mean, obviously there's Steve Donahue, Richardson Reads. I'm not entirely sure if anyone else I regularly watch on BookTube is, Todd's Bursting Bookcase. I think he has a lot of really interesting history books on his shelves. So I think if I remember, I will try to link them. And if not, I've mentioned them. So thank you, BookTube. Have a great day, evening, whatever.